Hi, Patrick. Good morning to you. Hi, Ziggy, Windsor, William. Everyone doing okay? I'm going to start it off with a look from Greg Horvat. So I've been talking about Euro Yen for quite some time. We've been in this consolidation pattern. I agree with Greg's work here. I don't think he cares if I do or not because he's very confident in his work. So I think that there's a shorting opportunity in some of the yen crosses. Yen still looks weak to me. Everyone with me? So here's Greg's look. For those of you who aren't subscribers, this kind of work is at your fingertips 24/7. I'm glad to be awake too. Ziggy, it's always better to be awake than never to wake up. What do you think of that? So Greg also has kind of a bearish count in the guppy as well. It's even more negative to complete something. Everyone with me on it? So I want to take a look at a couple of the pairs. You know, it was easy pickings Friday. Had it diagnosed properly that the dollar was going to correct back to the downside. Yen still looks heavy to me. I think 110.5, 111 is doable. I was in the chat room yesterday and said Friday, of course, was a better day, but I see descending triangles everywhere in the yen. So this is your 4 hour. Here's your daily. This looks like a descending triangle all the way down at 108. And your weekly. So I see two descending triangles. I see this one under 108. You could take it to 98. And we all know what would happen under 98. So the tougher call right now is the euro. It was easy. Pointed out we had the divergence and a falling wedge and everything reversal trader would be looking for and chomping at the bit to trade. So here we were Friday, talked about buys around 1680 to 30. So here we are, a little tougher call here. There's a couple scenarios here and both of them I could at this point of time be open to both of them. The bulls are saying this is the end of wave 4 and that we're going to new highs in wave 5, and then the bears who think that was the top up here. We were looking at a head and shoulders formation here, but this could be the neckline right here, holding these recent lows on the daily. And for it to have symmetry, this high is 1910, so you know we could go to 18.5 to 119 to put in a right shoulder up here. Everyone see it? We start penetrating that. You're going to have to go with the other scenario that there's going to be one more high for a 5 up here to take out these highs. But I really like the euro yen as a short here. Markets usually don't bottom with this type of consolidation. That's all it looks like to me. And for today's trade of the day, I think that it's a short here. Even if we took out 33 to do some stop hunting, I don't see much higher than 33.10. And then the downside is fairly tasty. That we could take out, we could have something like this from 32, would take it down to about 30.50. We've been talking about these targets for a while now. Everyone with me on that? So those are some of my views. I still like the short side of the yen. I like the short side of yen crosses, most of them. Here's the guppy. Greg is looking for it to finish off down here. I think 5 down here at 46 or 45. We never really completely got to a retest of the, well, we did. We got back to the retest of the breakout here. So I think 46 is about his target here on that. Also, the gold was something that we talked about last week. And here again, you know, just getting back to the Dixie, there could be some more downside even if you're bullish. A lot of people are looking at big round number 93 to supply support. We've been talking about for several days the potential of a right shoulder in the Dixie. So that could still happen. especially if the euro's still going to trade another 50 to 60 pips higher. That's going to come in for symmetry right around this low, 92.55. So kind of in the middle of things after Friday. This was an easy trade. Gets a little tougher here to decide if this is a pullback to buy. On how deep is this pullback going to be? Is it going to hold here at 92.92, or is it going to try 2.5 in the next several days? So that's what I see here. But what looks to be right on time is the euro yen here. So maybe they try and take out the stops over the high of the consolidation, which has been 33.11, but it's looking less and less likely. This one has given you plenty of time. Looked like we were going to have a breakdown back here, but we're able to hold for one more advance, and all we're able to do is get back to resistance. Eventually, if we take out this moving average here, 31.84, there's confluence with these lows. This is 31.84, this is 31.84, and that we could have, even if you're a long-term bull, this could be A, this could be A, B, C for B with a C to follow. So we have Adam Button with us today. Adam's great. It's still fairly early in the month, and Adam does some great seasonal work. So I'm looking forward to seeing what Adam has to say when he shows up here in a little bit. Want to remind everyone to click on the link here and risk $1 to invest in your trading, your future trading performance, so that you guys have all of this at your fingertips. And I know I show a lot of Greg's work, but you know what? Don't forget about Nicola Duke. Got an email from someone who congratulated us on having Nick on our platform, that she's an excellent trader. And then you definitely can't poo-poo basic technical with Blake. You know, most people are here that have followed Blake for years and moved over to his new, this new website and ForexAnalytix and its technology. And we also can't forget Steve Vogie, who also gives us a great review of the total board every day. A great review of the board every day. So, and then of course, who's been pretty hot and is an excellent trader, Macro. You know, you're not going to find trades with 30, 40, 50 pip stops with Stelios, but he was a little early on Euro Pound, but cleaned up. He was bullish a pound when everyone was talking about the collapse. So really, you get a lot of different great analysts all at the same place. And then I would encourage you, if you do join, to join for the 6-month time period so that you can get in here. Let's do a little Jumbotron action. See how many people are in here today. Okay, guys, I'm coming in the room. A little Jumbotron action, 65 here. Bill's not here. But you see, after a face is done in an hour and a half, you're able to go in here and take a look at what everyone's saying. Blake's in here, Steve's in here, Stelios, I drop in, plus Simon saying, Dale, just pleased to wake up today. Someone give him some love. All right, mission accomplished, Simon. You gave me some love. A lot of charts are posted in here. So also people have a good time in here. All right, they get to express themselves. You really don't get to express yourself as much in our webinars. All you can do is ask questions, but great interaction in here. People congratulate each other. Everyone's rooting for each other in here. You know, there's a great decorum in here. There aren't a lot of rules in here, but no one roots for someone to fail to rationalize their inadequacies in the market. Everyone's on the same team. It's like being on a team. All right, so there you go. There's a little cat poop for you. There's a little dog do. So we're diversified in poop in the poop diversification in the chat room. So I encourage you, if you join, to take the 6-month subscription so that you could participate in this. Even after U.S. hours close, you'll find people in there for the Asian session. And also, you're waiting for the Black Friday sale. Okay, but just think about it, John. How many great trades that you may miss between now and Thanksgiving? Okay, and that's when things begin to slow down a little bit until year end. So I know it's great to have things on sale, but when you think about it, it's pretty reasonable. You know, you have 6 analysts, if I include myself, and you're paying, you know, a pip a month to everybody to be part of this, about that, a pip a month. So with that all being said, still like this euro yen short between here and 320. You know, I'm not going to say, you know, if you sell it here, you're going to have immediate gratification. So what I like to do is, just in case I don't get a 320 print here, you put a small piece on. Okay, so you put a small piece on, a rally, and you hope you're early, so you could build the position. And then up at 320, you put another piece on, and then you have to risk the highs because you have to have some risk management. Don't put your stop here above this high, and don't put your stop here above this high. You know why? Does anyone know why I'm telling you not to put your buy stop at those levels? Anyone have a guess? Well, okay, I'll tell you, because that's where everyone else's are. That's right, Patricia. Everyone's stops are there. So, you know, if you're looking at a swing point, give it at least 30 pips tolerance. So use less leverage, let your trades breathe, so you're not right the market, wrong the trade. I know that's a major problem for most aspiring traders. They get the direction of the market right, but they're too leveraged and they only want to risk 8 pips, 10 pips. You know, I say this, especially if you're a swing trader or a position trader, if you can't be wrong for a day, how can you be right for a week? So you have to risk at least the daily average trading range on trades to be there for a swing trade.
That's a great saying, Dale.
All right, buddy. I was hoping you'd bail me out.
No, that's a great sale. Or a great sale. That was a great saying. No, I mean,
well, I know that's your style, bro. I know, yeah. You know, you let your trades breathe.
I have to. I mean, well, first of all, I'll be the first to admit, I am not the best timing intraday timer. I'm just not. I mean, I try to sharpen my skills and, you know, do this and do that and, you know, become like an excellent, you know, scalper. You know, some days I'm on, some days I'm off, but, you know, what I really try to prepare each trade for is, can I sit in this trade for a few days? Right. Does it make sense? And I will undoubtedly be wrong. I mean, as much as I try to, you know, initially, as much as I try to buy dips or sell rallies, you know, my timing is never perfect. This is, you know, I'm going on 22 years in this business. So
that's for most, like, you know, immediate gratification where you do the trade and you know, you have no drawdown from your entry. You know, we all can do that once in a while, but don't delude yourself and think you're going to do it all the time. Know your weaknesses, right? You know, my weakness is I'm usually early. So how do I combat being early? By just having a small piece on in my initial entry, knowing I'm probably early and I'm going to even have a better price to build the position on.
Right. Yeah, and that's exactly, you know, how I think what happens with a lot of people is they, you know, because of the leverage that's available in this market, they just get too aggressive too early. They find themselves wrong because we're a lot the same, you know, whether it's, you know, you or me or, you know, anybody else out there. We're not going to be superstar timer. I've met some pretty, you know, and there's a lot of them in our chat room actually. I've met some traders that are very, very proficient at timing their entries.
Yeah, I have too.
And I'm not one of them. You know, like I said, I have my on days where it's like, wow, I can't lose intraday, you know, but that's not every day, and it's not common for me. So
Greg and Nick are kind of like that, you know, because they use harmonics and waves, so they're pretty close, pretty spot on their entries. And I've also noticed Steve is too. But Steve won't have the tightest stops because he waits for confirmation. And if you're going to wait for confirmation, you're going to have to risk a little bit more because you're not getting in at a high, you're not getting in at a low, you're getting in at a sell signal, a buy signal.
He's going to have lot less opportunities. They just happen to be very, very well thought out opportunities.
Right, higher hit rate, but larger stops. So anyway, what a great team.
Yeah,
and thank you guys for picking me up yesterday. I charged my alarm. It's great to be alive and up for the opening here, buddy.
I'm glad. We were worried about you. I was like, everybody's like, "Where's Dale?" And our team was like, "Man, I hope he's okay." I'm like, you know what? We get up really early in the morning, and I've woken up late, and I can guarantee you he just slept in. And sure enough, 30 minutes in the webinar. So and it happened. So it's all good. But yeah, everybody's like, wow, this is like a flashback to the morning edge, because I started the webinar. Well, Steve started the webinar. I just took over immediately as at the very beginning, and just went through all the majors and went through all the through all the majors and through some of the long-term charts of the dollar pairs, and then flipped over to Steve. So I thought I would, and speaking of which, I thought I'd take a little bit of time to talk about just a few things that I was looking at. First of all, I did close our pattern in play for the US dollar Norwegian krona, and I had somebody on Twitter ask, "Hey Blake, why'd you close it?" And the thing is, we're sitting on this support, and I should probably do this. This will make a little bit more sense. We went to 792 overnight, and we had this bear flag. I don't know if you guys remember intraday. It looked like this. I'm just going to draw it for you. Crap, I didn't draw that.
Great trade, and the divergence was glaring at the high up there.
Yeah, and I'm still bearish. I mean, so if you guys are still short, I still think it looks like a good short. My only problem is that we had this bear flag formation. You can see we completed, right? So we came down to the support level. You can see,
right.
Okay, so we came down to support, and we're still down here, by the way. And the thing about the US dollar Norwegian krona, I think it can go. I still think it can go lower. Problem is, we have FOMC meeting minutes coming out today, which I think the market's probably waiting for. I wouldn't be surprised to see the dollar bounce a little bit ahead of the NFP or FOMC meeting minutes. But and I had a short dollar yen overnight, just intraday stuff, short the dollar yen, and I'm still short the euro yen. So I'm still in in a lot of trades. I just took some profits off the table, and the US dollar Norwegian krona was one of them. But that's just because I know that there's some dollar risk coming in over the next couple hours, so I just wanted to reduce my risk. I also shorted the US dollar Mexican peso yesterday. It hit the 200-day moving average right at, and we were at the highs. And I told everybody in the chat room, you could, if you go through the chat, you go through these logs, and you'd have to go like all the way into yesterday, last night. I have to go all the way back into yesterday, and I was let me see. Let's see. Like last night, this is just kind of an example of some of the stuff that goes on in the chat room, and I want to just show you guys last night. I don't know where it's at. Wait, today 10:10. Oh yeah, so this is yesterday. So last night I was like, hey, we're up against the 200-day moving average. Oh, it's way down here. Here, just I'm going to give you guys some examples of what what goes on here like in the evenings and stuff. There was a lot of chatting last night. That's why I thought it was really far back. There's a lot of gifts of Salma Hayek. Let me just tell you that. There are just a ton of them. Oh, man. All right.
people practice their
Yeah.
stand-up comedy routines.
Oh yeah. Oh, whoops. Whoop. Don't skip that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of fun stuff that goes on.
I'm gonna rock.
I'm going all the way to yesterday. So, whoop, there we go again.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah, we were talking a lot about Catalonia yesterday. And then we got really bored. Yeah, it's right around here. So yesterday, where is it? Okay, here we go. So almost there, almost this. I mean, this is how much chatting goes on during the day, which is great, except when you're trying to find something. I have no idea where. I don't know what was going on over there. Okay. So, yeah. Gosh, where is all the comments? Oh my God. Okay. I don't know. Oh, here it is. Okay. So I said, try to get it. Oh, I said, I was talking about the dollar Mexican peso. I said, I think we're going to try to get long somewhere below 18 this evening. Oh, I was talking about the euro dollar. I said, I will be selling dollar Mexican peso all the way up to 18.90 tonight. And then I said I sold some US dollar Mexican peso, still going to add a higher. This is a face ripper, so above 19, I'm out. And then anyway, but I closed it out this morning. So got out of the US dollar Mexican peso because it hit the 200-day moving average. I mean, we hit the 200-day moving average. I think it's coming off a little bit. I didn't want to stay short too long, but there's the 786 retracement right up here. I think we're the RSI daily RSI was getting a little out of control yesterday. So anyway, looking for a little bit of a pullback in the US dollar Mexican peso. Overall, though, it's bullish. I think the US dollar Mexican peso is still quite bullish, and I would like to be a buyer on a dip. So if I can get a significant dip down to like 18, 40 or 50, I will be a buyer somewhere down there if we can get it. But today is the FOMC meeting minutes, and so this is where we start looking at the dollar index, and we have that. This is a very, as far as right now goes, this is a very symmetrical. This is a very symmetrical inverted head and shoulder pattern as of right now. It's got a lot of symmetry. So if we come down to, this 92.50 level and we can hold it, that's good for dollar bulls. I don't know if today is going to give us all the clues that we're looking for, but I think that we could still go down there, but I don't know if we're probably going to just trade little sideways here for the next few hours ahead of the FOMC meeting minutes. That's what would be my assumption. But if the dollar, with all that being said, if the dollar breaks above 94, I think if we come back and we retest 94 today, we're going a lot higher. So my 2 cents are, if the dollar index, if we get an indication today, and I don't think this is going to happen, but I'm just going to say if we get an indication today that the Fed is really bullish, and it looks like it's going to be hell or high water before they really pull off the brakes as far as raising rates go. If we walk away today feeling that the Fed is really going to be raising rates well into 2018, then we might actually get a probe up here. And my thinking is if we do come back up here, we are going to break out. But I don't know if that's necessarily going to be the case. And I will tell you this, that I'm not going to have any dollar positions going into the FOMC meeting minutes. I have already cleared out my dollar yen, and I cleared out my US dollar Mexican peso. Both were short overnight. I've taken money off the table on both of those, and now I'm just sitting on the sidelines. I am in some cross rates, like I'm still short, a little euro yen, and I'm long some euro Aussie, but I'm really just kind of hanging around on the sidelines with cross rates until after the FOMC meeting minutes today. We also have here in just a Oh no, never mind. I was thinking tomorrow is where we get producer prices, then we get CPI actually on Friday and retail sales. So the next 2 days, hopefully we're going to have some guaranteed excitement for the FACE webinar, meaning that we have data points, good data points coming out the next 2 days while we're here on FACE. So hopefully we'll get some, some decent volatility, because I'll tell you, the last 2 days in the FX market, Dale, has felt like summer. I mean, I literally, I feel like I've been sleeping at my desk for the last 2 days. I mean, granted, my wife's a little under the weather, and I think a lot of it's come off on me a little. So I'm not feeling 100%, but I really have been just like, there's been no volatility. It's been very, very little volatility, for the dollar the last couple of days. You can see, the last 2 days just, kind of slow. The dollar's grinded lower, but overall it's been pretty damn slow. And believe it or not, we've been getting a lot of action in the Asian markets. The Asian markets have actually provided a lot of action, more action than we've seen in North America, it seems like.
Yeah, and that's usually the slow session.
Yeah, it absolutely is. It really is typically. So anyway, things we hope to pick up over the course of the next couple of days. And you were mentioning about having the opportunity to look at like Gregor Horvat's work. That's the thing about ForexAnalytix that I love. It's like, okay, for example, first thing I did this morning, I'm like, okay, I'm still bearish the euro yen, and what I did, first thing this morning is I go, okay, well, let's see, Nick, she still has, she's still looking at that as resistance, this is support. Okay, great. I looked at Greg's work and I'm like, okay, he sees, another sell-off and a bounce and before an eventual C wave. Great. Okay, that's all in line with what I'm thinking. And, that's a nice thing about, and then I can go to my analysis and go, okay, I'm still waiting for, I already know that because it's my analysis. But anyway, it is nice getting that confirmation of different type of analysis across the board. And when you see things like this, like, you look at the euro dollar and we see, the candlestick, basic technical, harmonic, Elliott wave analysis all pointing higher, that should, warn you that if you're short, you got to start paying a little bit of attention, because it's nice when all different types of analysis is all lining up the same way. And that's the key to ForexAnalytix and using this particular tool. Okay, is that type of assistance. And then on top of it, guys, we've gotten a lot of questions from our support staff, and our support staff report back to myself. How do I get involved in the chat room? You click on this little settings wheel right here, and it says go to chat room. It's right here. And if you are entitled to it, you'll get that ability. If you're not, then you don't. And the only reason why you're not is because if you're on a month-to-month subscriber for ForexAnalytix and you haven't been a subscriber for more than 6 months, you won't have that ability. But if you have a semi-annual or annual subscription, you can. So that's how you get to our chat room. So just because we've got an abundance of questions about how to get there. So anyway.
Blake, good morning, my friend.
Good morning.
When somebody becomes eligible, the system automatically recognizes that and sends them an email with instructions and confirmation that they have access.
Awesome.
Do that as well.
Awesome. Okay, thanks, Steve. Hey, real quick, just before I let you take over, Steve, one of the, I try to step back every day and go, okay, what happens if we get dollar strength and what happens if we get dollar weakness? I've been, and today is a day where I'm looking at this dollar Canadian, and I know we've popped out of this channel, so that automatically puts it in my could fall list, because we've been grinding higher in this channel, and we popped out of it. Because we popped out of it, I'm now automatically in my head, I automatically start looking for downside. So that's like number one.
That was my lucky call, Pinkert in play Friday, when we were putting in that negative candle after NFP on Canada.
Yeah, they can't, and it came off. It came off, which is fine. I mean, we dropped like 40 or 50 pips, but I'll tell you, we haven't seen any downside follow through.
No.
Flip side, the flip side is that we're just kind of hanging. So today, in the event that the dollar is weak following the FOMC meeting minutes, this particular currency pair is on my radar for a short. So I am going to be looking for a possible short in the US dollar Canadian in the event that the dollar weakens today. And that's something that's just on my radar that I'm bless you, that I'm looking at. And so anyway, I just want to bring that to you guys' attention just because it's something that is now that we're out of here, out of this channel, it's something that I can't stop thinking about. Am I going to short it right now? No. Am I waiting for the FOMC meeting minutes? Yes, because I don't know if we're going to get dollar weakness today. We could very easily get dollar strength. So I'd rather just be waiting for it. But I think if we break through this 124.85, then the dollar Canadian's got probably 124 written all over it. So then I think we're coming down to somewhere down here.
That'd be about 38% at your target point.
Probably, I would say, yeah, that's probably pretty close. Eyeballing it, yeah, it is right to the pip, actually, right to the pip.
Yeah, so you have some confluence with your moving average and a fib.
Yeah. So there you go. Oh, Steve, how you feeling, man?
I'm good. Hand is getting better day by day.
Good.
So it's okay.
Good.
How was your night?
I slept pretty well. So I slept well, but my wife's a little under the weather, so I don't know if I'm catching it, but I tell you, I don't feel like 100%. So yeah, I'll be all right though. All good.
Take it easy. I'm sure it's you're strong. It's gonna be okay.
Yeah, I'll be fine. But I know you probably have a lot to talk about, and I actually want to I got to get ready for my trading day, so I'm going to let you guys take over.
I hate you because in this kind of market environment, as you understand, there is not much that we haven't already talked about. I mean, the movement is very little, and I personally doubt that we're going to see any real movement until we get the FOMC minutes tonight.
I understand that, but let me give you one thing that I'm looking at. Okay, so I'm actually short the euro yen, but I'm long the euro Aussie now.
Oh yeah. We've talked about the we've talked about the euro and the pound pairs both yesterday and the day before, and that's why I said I don't have much to say, because today it's not that they've done something that has changed the technical picture. You know what I mean? I've been monitoring them very, very closely as well. I specifically said yesterday that I think that they're the most interesting tradable pairs at the moment out there in this very choppy and slow environment.
Yeah, I'm really kind of more or less focused on the crosses, and I kept a euro yen short and a euro Aussie long, and they've offset each other. I was more worried about what the press conference out of Spain this morning, which actually ended up being a non-event, but I was worried more about that. So I'm like, okay, I'm long the euro Aussie, short the euro yen. They are offsetting each other, but this euro Aussie.
Blake, if you can please turn to the euro Kiwi briefly.
Hey, Steve, before I forget, your elbow injury reminded me of my dad, because every time he'd order a drink, he would tell the bartender, and don't forget to bend your elbow. Ever tell the bartender? Tell the bartender that? Bend your elbow.
Can you switch to a daily chart? Dale, honestly, I don't even know how you think of those.
How come I'm the only one that doesn't get that joke? How come I don't get it?
I do get it.
When you're pouring your favorite call liquor, you want a good pour, and the only way you get a good pour is if they bend their elbow.
Got it.
You should know that.
Oh no, I just ordered doubles. It's, I don't have to be all cute about it. I just, pour me a double. Give me a double. That works.
What I wanted to say, Blake, is that to me it seems that the Euro Kiwi has been leading quite recently. Has been leading the other crosses. So it broke to new highs, and then the rest started following it. And what I'm actually monitoring, taking the lead from Euro Kiwi and the other crosses, is the pound Kiwi, which has been forming for a big period of time, like a huge rounded bottoming formation. And if we get a break above 190 there, I think that's going to be like a very, very nice long-term trade, along with the euros that you're monitoring, the huge triangle, etc. So I do believe that these crosses will provide some longer-term trading opportunities. But other than that, this market environment has been so choppy, so annoying.
Well, good. You only have 25 minutes to talk about it, so I'm going to pass it over to you.
Sure.
See, hey guys, I got to go get ready for my day. Have a great day. All right. Bye, guys.
By the way, Coach, I don't know if you talked about it before. I'm sure that Stelios is going to be joining us shortly as well. Did you have, because I lost the first 10 minutes, I was in a meeting, did you discuss at all the Catalonia developments yesterday and the speech at the Parliament of Catalonia?
No, I didn't talk about Catalonia.
Okay, yeah. So Blake briefly said that it was a non-event because simply the guy pulled a Tsipras. I mean, he went on and said that, okay, listen, we are going to declare our independence, but we're postponing it.
Oh.
We're putting it on a pause until we have a second round of negotiations, etc. So he called it like suspended. I mean, the terminology was a little bit of a joke, like suspended independence declaration. Which
I think he said something about like the Slovenia or Slovakia model where they had the same thing, and it took a year or two for that process to unfold.
Yeah, basically, as I was explaining yesterday in the chat room, the market has been proved that is a discounting mechanism that usually discounts like 6 to 9 months ahead. So when you get such an event, the market is probably not even taking it into account, because what we got yesterday is that, okay, yeah, we are going to be declaring at some point in the future independence after negotiations. So in parentheses, what you're thinking about is that, okay, that means that negotiations can even completely avert that from happening, because simply Madrid might go ahead and offer them some more leeway in the way they can handle their finances or whatever else. And, this suspended declaration of independence might become, suspended indefinitely. So obviously the market is not even taking that into account. So unless we see some kind of quick escalation, personally, I wouldn't be waiting, and that's what I said yesterday as well, that I wouldn't be waiting or holding a Euro USD short just because I would be hoping that the Catalonia events are going to kick Euro in the teeth, you know what I mean? So people should have very low expectations having to do with that, and that might be an issue that's going to be moving slowly in months, perhaps years, and if ever anything happens with it. Now, if something happens and the situation escalates, we can reconsider. But as far as I saw yesterday, they watered down what they wanted to do quite a lot. And as long as that's the case, I don't think that there are any imminent fears.
Steve.
Blake said it. Ella, Stelio.
Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt. I just wanted to add something.
Not at all. That's why we're here.
Yeah, no problem. Hi, everybody. I just want to say that Catalonia is about 16% of the Spanish population, last time I checked. And in terms of GDP, it's actually more than that. So there's a big incentive for Spain to do whatever it takes to get the Catalonian leaders to go along basically and to not declare independence. And I think that's probably what we're seeing now. So they're going for negotiations, knowing that they have a very good bargaining tool.
Yeah, and same for Europe, Stelio. I mean, Europe would want to see them reconciliate as well, so they do not get any weird precedents there. You know what I mean?
Of course. So basically, the Catalan leader will be speaking with Rajoy, but really he's going to be speaking with the European leaders. So it's a very powerful team that they're going to be negotiating with. And I think Steve, you're right. And we have a saying in Greece that there is nothing more permanent than what is temporary. So I think that what we saw is probably how it's going to be, and there's going to be some kind of indefinite. Suspended.
Yeah, it is very, very likely.
It's likely. I'm not saying it's for sure, but I think the way things went yesterday, it's pointing towards that direction. So
I started to write a song about this historical thing. Catalonia, don't be Alonia. That's as far as I've got.
Very good. That's very good.
Definitely gonna hit the top 10, dude.
Yeah. Okay, that's all I want to add, basically. So.
Yeah. So you know, people shouldn't be holding their breaths, you know, about how this is going to impact the euro, etc. If you remember, I was quite clear since days ago that I do not foresee. I said it before the weekend, actually, for the first time. I do not foresee any real big. Aftermath to the euro, and so far this has been the case. As it seems, the euro wasn't even pricing anything really negative. I mean, if we just see the rebound that happened after that, I mean, the euro is not that it really believed into something great happening. So somebody can say they were complacent, but on the other hand, in this case, it was proved so far that they had a reason to be complacent simply because the danger was much smaller than presented. You know.
But good point by Scott. Even though, like Stelios points out, it's only 16% of the population. Scott's saying it's 40% of GDP.
Yeah, I didn't know that number, but yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah,
it's very important, right? Yeah. Thanks,
and Ziggy gave me another line for the Catalonia song. After "Don't be Alonia, go eat some bologna." So we're even getting some participation. Good one,
Nadex market makers are pricing in an expected move of about 30 pips on most major pairs for 3 p.m. expiries. Usually it's 40 to 50, so they're not expecting much from FOMC. I agree, although now, before we go into technical analysis, I want to make a comment about the FOMC as well. I first said, I remember we were here, so you were present, perhaps we were even having a direct discussion, Dale.
Yeah.
I had said in advance that I do believe that one of the reasons that the Fed is actually going in a hiking cycle, and for me extra proof is the fact that we've started seeing a lot of articles speaking about the potential of watering down their inflation target so they can excuse further hikes, is that of course they're never going to admit it, but the fact that the Fed and other central banks have started seeing a lot of imbalances in the system and a lot of signals that the market has become very frothy, and we have bubbles building in several asset classes. So I do believe that they're hiking mostly because of that, and that is why I'm also always since some months ago expecting that the chances for the FOMC minutes to surprise are tilted to the hawkish side. So if I would expect some kind of a surprise today, which I'm not really, it wouldn't be on the dovish side for sure. Okay, so in my opinion, the risks are more tilted to a reaction higher for the dollar following the FOMC minutes. Probably it's going to be neutral though, but if there is any surprise, I would expect a little bit of a more hawkish commentary from the FOMC in their direct talks. And so I personally, ahead of it, I won't be holding short dollar positions. That's my point of view. I may be mistaken, but so far it has served me right, and that's what my intuition tells me. And I'm just sharing that. Okay. So let's have a look at a few tickers, because unfortunately we've had a look at everything yesterday and the day before yesterday, and we've had very little movement since. One of the interesting pairs here, in my opinion, is the USD yen, because it had the potential of this being an ascending wedge, and we have cleared it to the downside. Although support is not far away, it's like 30 pips below where we currently are. Obviously, this thing is not moving fast. Just see, I mean, we've stayed for a couple of weeks in a range that's roughly 150 pips. So it's been a slow mover, but I want to show it ahead of the FOMC minutes. Also, a very big barometer, and an instrument that has reached a very significant juncture on Friday was the treasuries. Because
great call, Steve.
Yeah, on Friday we had that very nice rejection from there, and today it's
Mike showed that too. Yeah, that was a great trend line you guys came up with.
Yeah, and it's turning higher, and it seems to be trying to put a recovery. Personally, I'm not very much convinced. I mean, let's see, now we did that. So personally, I would be looking for some kind of a rebound that can be, very short-lived as well, before a move lower. So, I would be looking, for example, for these areas resistance, or this area is also very good. 126.60 is also a very good area of resistance. So any rebound, to be honest, the first signs I see that it's rolling over, I'm going to be there. I mean, I'm going to be interested to be on the short side. So this is something to watch even today, actually, because it might even reverse intraday today if we get some really hawkish commentary that the market is not expecting. This can easily reverse and go once again back for the lows. Okay, so perhaps this is some profit taking, for example, as simple as that. Now, on the other hand, I want to show the cable, because the cable, if we do see some dollar strength coming after the FOMC minutes, I think that the cable is one of the best positioned pairs at the moment. First of all, because it displayed a very nice impulsive kind of move lower before, and second of all, if you remember, even after the rebound, what I said is that, okay, fine, we're getting a very nice reaction from there, but for me, it's all about seeing what's going to happen when we test this 132.50 area of support resistance. In this case, of course, it's going to act as a resistance. So we seem to have stalled at the bottom of it, and if we see any dollar strength coming in, really this is a very nice area for somebody to be looking into being short the cable. So, for example, the reward to risk ratio is really appealing here. If you do believe that we're going to see some dollar strength following the FOMC minutes, and if this is the kind of trading you want to do, I mean, a trade ahead of event, etc., etc. So that's another thing to see, to notice. Now, another thing I wanted to talk about, because we talked about it yesterday, and I warned about it, is the reversals. As you see, they're very nice reversals, and I'm really lucky. I got my profits like at the highs 2 days ago here in the USD ZAR. This was an ascending wedge, and it worked out very nicely. So I'm now looking to see, as you see, the exotics are accelerating lower, but I'm still looking in opportunities to buying them. So, for example, the USD Turkish lira is now 1.1% lower today, but I would really like to see, for example, 358 being tested before making an attempt to buy it. USD ZAR, I would also like to see another move down to 1340, 1345, and some kind of a reaction. The USD Singaporean dollar, we warned that in advance that it was hitting the channel resistance. It has been rejected from there. It's now testing soft support, so let's see what happens from there. The USD MXN, by the way, I want to make a comment about this. Blake was showing before, the chat room, we post a lot of charts, a lot of analysis. We're making a lot of discussions about geopolitical issues and trading issues and political issues in the way they affect the markets. I mean, not political conversations. We usually try to avoid them because obviously you can have different opinions. And Blake showed also that people post some GIFs because there's a very good climate there. I mean, we especially have some people like Matt that like post amazing GIFs, etc. But we had one comment one day that we were showing the chat room, and one of Matt's GIFs was showing there. There was a lady answering back to a ForexAnalytix tweet saying like, you had me convinced until I saw the bikini girls. And I understand the comment, but it was out of context, and I want to explain that because we have a community of people there, and 25 of them especially have been there for years in the previous chat room Blake had, and now they've moved to the ForexAnalytix one. And even Salma Hayek, for example, that you saw there being posted is because we have the nickname Salma for the USD MXN. So, for example, when the USD MXN is doing something, people might post like, a Salma Hayek GIF. So, besides the fun and everything else, this is a very serious chat room, and there's a lot of conversation happening about, about trading and the markets. And yesterday we were commenting, we were watching live the Catalonian, let's call it suspended independence of declaration, etc., etc., etc. So this is a great place to be in, and honestly, we're getting knowledge, we're exchanging opinions all the time, and it's a nice place to be as well. So we have absolutely no problem showing both its fun moments and its serious moments. Because if we wanted to play, serious in the hypocritical way, we could have just been showing charts or whatever else. Now, having to do with the USD MXN, which also follows the same pattern, obviously it's stalling up here at the 200 EMA. It has definitely broken out. I think that any move down here, this is the level I really like, because as you see, let me draw this as a zone. There it is. As you see, this is a soft support resistance zone. So anywhere back at 837 roughly, I think it's a great buying opportunity for another move higher. Okay, so I think that there are a lot of possible opportunities showing up here, but the market has been very slow and choppy. And this is another subject I want to say. Very often in ForexAnalytix, we have a lot of patterns in play at the same time. Lately, we have been issuing them very, very carefully, fewer of them. It's very simple because our thesis is that you should also adapt the amount of trades you take, etc., according to the market conditions. So, for example, some months ago, when we had a very nicely trending dollar, we were issuing a lot of patterns in play, simply because we had a clean market, a market that was easy to read, clean trends, clean opportunities, and we were trying to take advantage of them. In this occasion, though, you have a lot of markets that are slow, that are choppy. This market environment, by the way, I've said it in the past, I mean, this complacent, choppy market environment with a lot of the correlations breaking down is not good news. I mean, it's usually, the calm before the storm.
Okay,
And
so you think this is the eye of a hurricane, and we're going to come out of this storm?
yes, but I'm going to tell you what I told. I'm going to tell you what I told you the other time I mentioned that, which was like a month ago. That doesn't mean that this is a 2-day process or a 1-week process. You know what I mean? This might be a slow process, might take a month and more, or 2 months more, or whatever. But I really think that everything in this market environment smells a little bit of gasoline. I don't know if you get me.
Oh yeah. That was before the dollar bottom. Yeah, we needed a match, and the Fed gave it to us.
Yeah, but I'm talking in general. I mean, stock indices have stopped completely reacting to anything. Volatility is at ridiculous levels. Daily ranges have gone down to ridiculous levels. I mean, we're not seeing any big moves. You know, volatility on all asset classes is completely like suspended, etc. Many typically good working correlations have broken down or even inversed. Usually, you know, these are not good indications. I think it's something is brewing in this market. Of course, we're going to have to you know, to handle it when it happens, but I just keep it on the back of my mind, and that's the only reason I'm saying it. You know what I mean? I don't mean that people should do something in advance, but I think they should keep it in the back of their minds. By the way, silver, I'm showing it here now, and gold, exactly as we mentioned yesterday, both of them are still at very, very critical levels. So, for example, if we get any dollar strength, this is going to be an ideal, these are going to be ideal places for them to get rejected. Same as the cable. So, for example, for potential dollar strength reaction, silver, gold, cable are very nicely positioned because they are also at very nice technical levels that you know, a rejection lower would make sense. Okay. Now having to do, we even had a conversation yesterday in the chat room having to do with the Aussie. The Aussie rebounded like from a very, very critical level, but this rebound does not convince me yet. Same with the Kiwi. This rebound doesn't convince me in any way because as far as I know, for the time being, I'm just taking this as a potential little bear flag or whatever. So, you know, I think that Aussie and Kiwi have been in this environment from the major currency pairs, probably the most well behaved in a sense that they're trending, sorry, because they had, you know, a very nice clean move to the downside, a correction, another clean move to the downside. And this is one of the reasons why, you know, the only position I'm still holding is half my initial position in the Aussie short. I think these are the only two pairs that actually, you know, look quite clean. And the same thing will apply to the USD CAD and the USD NOK, as long as they prove that they're about to resume the downside. So this is USD CAD, you know, poking its head just below the ascending channel support, and this is USD NOK, which got a very, very nice rejection from the 8 level and is currently testing the bottom of this channel. So for me, a daily close below here, this zone, is going to confirm that the USD NOK wants to push to new lows. Okay, so that's what I'm monitoring. Let's call it roughly 787. Okay, 788. Okay, let's see if we have any questions. Oh, and by the way, thank you for mentioning that. John is saying, is there a more professional version of Face chatroom where women might feel comfortable participating? Hard to recommend this to my female trading friends based on the content of the last couple of days. John, I really disagree, and I'll give you one reason. We have more than 3 active female traders there, and not a single time they felt offended. We do have women in the chat room, and very active actually. So trust me, not even a single time they've expressed discomfort or whatever else.
Yeah, and Harvey Weinstein is not in our chat.
Yeah.
Or
yeah,
Donald Trump, or any of the other men that do not respect women. Yeah. I've also brought on a lot of female ladies, women, traders to be interviewed, and I hold them in as high or higher regard because of what they have to go through in what used to be really a male-dominated business. So there's respect there in the room.
Yeah, and you know, I'm not going to tell you names, but I can tell you one thing for sure is that I know for a fact that you know, the female traders we have there, and they're quite active as well. Everybody respects them, and a lot, because not only because they're good traders in what they do, but also because you know, the really good the really good personalities. I mean, we like hanging around with them, and from what I know, they like hanging around with us.
Well, I know, you know, since we have opened it up,
yeah,
and these guys prior are used to having kind of like their own little country club, and it's more public than before. You know,
Angela comments here.
I think, you know, I think that we could probably have a room about, you know, posting sexy pictures of women and things like that that would not be appropriate in the trading room. I don't think that's a big adjustment because but we still can have fun, but that may be like an area that we don't have fun with. So
and let's be honest, posting, you know, because of the USD/MXN, Salma Hayek dancing with a bikini on a movie is not offensive to anybody, right? I mean, it's not, there's no nude content, obviously, we would immediately ban it. There's no question about it. And by the way, Angela mentions it, and there is no comment that I never skip. She says only 3, that tells you all you need to know. But that's not the case, because now you're making a statistical mistake, Angela. They are 3 from the, let's say, 75 active people we have in the chat room. But honestly speaking, what is the percentage of women that do trading in comparison to men that do trading? I mean, we have like 5 women in the chat room in total, like 3 of them are more active. But honestly, what is the percentage of women in comparison to men? So, for example, you know, it makes statistical sense to have 3 or 5, because simply these are the statistics between women and men that do trading. I'm not saying anything about it. I don't judge it in any way, but you know, these are the statistics, right? Like, for example, how many women truck drivers are there? At least in my country, like, I don't know, counted in the fingers of 2 hands, for example. So, you know, if you're trying to draw a conclusion because of the number of women in comparison to men, then you should start about, you know, the general population of people that trade. I can tell you as a fact from the ForexAnalytix database, before we even released the chat room, so the chat room played absolutely no role, the number of women we have is like insignificant, almost insignificant.
Anyway, you know, we don't want to protest too much, and everyone has a right to attend it or not attend it, and you know, it's hard to please everybody all the time, and I think we should stop talking about it. And also, a little surprised, I was expecting Adam Button here today.
Oh, nice.
I don't see him, and I'm Skyping him, and I'm not getting a response, so maybe we should just wrap it.
By the way, guys, one more thing, which you may not have, I don't know if you noticed, Martin is asking when the FOMC minutes are. They're in just under 5 hours from now.
Oh, sorry, I didn't see the question. Yeah,
it's
sorry,
okay, don't worry. So 5 hours from now, basically.
Yes, 4 hours and 57 minutes from now. Yes, correct.
Okay.
Our friend Olivia just posted the mail photo on the chat room. Anyway, all right. So if you don't see Adam, what do? We might wrap it up.
Yeah, we should wrap it up. You know, I think markets are going to head. I'm going to be in the chat room during the Fed to see how some of my ideas are playing out.
As well.
You know, so I expect a very active trading room. I think that the traders will have too many trading opportunities on their mind. It usually happens during slow times where people are just, you know, trying to occupy time. And also, I do have to say this, that, you know, sometimes we take ourselves and trading a little bit too seriously. And, you know, if it's not fun, there's no law that you have to trade. So I don't know about the majority of you hearing my voice right now, but I actually think that laughter is a great tonic in a high-stress endeavor like trading. And, you know, if you can't laugh and you can't laugh at yourself, I think that you're not going to be a healthy person, and you're taking everything too seriously. Remember, it's only money. It's not life or death. And I know we're all trying to make money, but I think sometimes we take this too seriously. And if you take it too seriously, you're going to be a tight trader, and every trade's going to become life or death to you when it should just be another trade. So that's my advice psychologically for people. Laugh, enjoy your life, enjoy trading, and if you're not, look for something else to do. What do you think, guys?
I'm with you.
I
Okay.
agree 100%. Yes.
Okay, so I'll see everyone in the chat room after the Fed. Okay, and you know,
Definitely.
keep your powder dry. I think we're going to have some of these scalps and some of the things we covered today.
And I think if you have some errands to run, this is the time to do it
Yeah,
before
there
the
you go.
FOMC. I doubt we're going to see much until then.
Yeah, go to the gym, do something nice for yourself. Take your spouse out for breakfast or dinner, and we'll see everyone in the chat room for when the action begins later on today. So thank you everyone for your attention today. And remember, don't just count your pips, count your blessings. Remember, money comes and goes. Time is gone forever, so make it count. I'm looking to make it count in the chat room later on today. So adios, everyone. See you tomorrow. I have a great interview lined up tomorrow with, I believe I've interviewed him before, but he has a very big following, Gregory McLeod at Greg McLeod Trader. So I interviewed him on FX Street. The guy's a top gun. So see everyone tomorrow for Face. Adios. See you, Steve. See you, Stel. See you, Blake. See you, Face. You're welcome, Tom. You're welcome, everybody.